and you have a list, because you're working with a matchmaker, and ultimately she's going to ask you, what are you looking for, and so you have these things that you have written out. But ultimately, I mean, at least for me, and it seems like even for you, like it comes down to that feeling. So, you align with someone with like the values and what you guys are looking for, and you have the same goals, or goals that you both can work towards together. But it really does come down to that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's just as simple as that.
Yeah, yeah. What was dating like in New York City throughout your 20s and 30s? Like, what were the types of men that you were coming across?
Oh my God. Okay. So
Spill the
dating
tea.
in New York, I always say this because it's so true. It is a beast like no other. I mean, it is a city full of, I mean, everyone's successful. Everyone's, like looks good. They keep themselves like in like whatever, like great shape, whatever it is. So there's a lot of competition. There are a lot of options. And so I felt like when I was dating in my 20s, and I probably wasn't in the mindset to, be open to even being in a serious relationship, but I always found that the guys that I was dating in my 20s and then even into my early 30s, they were not consistent, and they really like it was always like, what's the next best thing? Or they would, breadcrumb, like they would kind of like keep you on the hook for a little bit, and then it would just be a hookup, and then it wouldn't really turn into anything more. And I felt like that happened quite a bit for me just because there's so many options in this city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I've never lived in New York, or New
Mhm.
York City, but I would imagine just the sheer population density across such a small geographic area. Like,
Yeah,
it's so overwhelming. And then I feel like at some point you're just kind of running into the same people in the dating world, like over and over again.
definitely. Especially if you're dating, I was specifically looking for someone Indian. So there was a lot of overlap between
Mm-hmm.
my friends and I. And they're like, oh, you're going out with, X person. I went out with them a few weeks ago. He's an asshole, or watch out for this red flag, or whatever it is. So there's a lot of that. Like since you're running in the same circles, you're ultimately like kind of dating the same people, and it gets challenging.
Mm-hmm. Were you so um have you ever like been open to dating white people or someone that's like not Indian?
Yeah, so I think in my 20s I tried to do that, but I just felt like, and maybe things would be different now, but I felt like when I was open to that in my 20s, just culturally we just didn't vibe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I get you. And then what about the apps? Like, were you on the apps like Dillmill and Hinge and Bumble and all of those?
All of the above.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I tried that, and the thing that I found, which is, I don't know if it's because I'm older. I don't know if it's like a your generation thing. I don't know. But I would get on there, and people just wanted to be pen pals. Like they would message me, and they'd be like, "Hey, what's up?" or "Hey, how's the weather?" And I never, to me, that's just like the lowest level of conversation. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
ask if you want my attention, or if I want someone's attention, like I'm gonna ask like a genuine question that has some thought behind it. And so I just felt like, okay, I didn't like the apps at all because there was always this back and forth on the messenger, and then they'd never want to meet up.
Oh
And I'm like,
yeah, what the
what?
hell? You're in the
What?
same city.
Yeah, what is this? Like sometimes they'd be living in my neighborhood and they wouldn't want to meet up, and I'm just like, so you just want me to keep you company over this message, like
Mm-hmm.
over messenger? I didn't understand that. So I kind of got a little sick of that. And then there was a lot of catfishing, which I went through. So
Really?
a lot of that. So like, I think this happens quite a bit with Indian guys in height. So yeah. So like, so they would say that they're, and to me, it's like, it's not the height that's the issue, it's the lie.
Yeah.
So, they'd be like, oh, I'm 5'9", and then I'm 5'2". So, and with heels, I'm probably like 5'4", 5'5". So then when I meet them, they're my height. So I was like, okay, you're like, we're the same
Yeah.
height.
Yeah.
And at a certain point I was like, should I start traveling with a measure, should I go on the date with like a ruler or a
Yeah.
measuring tape? I'm
No,
like, Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a lie. It was just a lie. And I'm like, or they would put pictures up from I went out with this one guy that, my friend knew him, but I met him on the app.